Betty Richardson. Welcome to the committee, Ms. Richardson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committees. My name is Betty Richardson, and I'm here today representing myself. I am an attorney, I live in West Boise, and I am a patron of the Meridian School District. My husband and I both attended and graduated from Idaho Public Schools, as did our children. Well, there are many educational issues about which I feel strongly. I will use my 3 minutes today to testify about an issue that is especially concerning. I'd like to focus on the portion of House Bill 67, which provides, in essence, that if a board of trustees and the district's teachers do not reach agreement on a contract by a date certain, the trustees will have the final say on the contract terms. Now, when I was in law school, I learned that a contract represents a meeting of the minds of the parties to the contract. I also learned about one type of contract that is so out of balance in favor of one party that one can only conclude that it was not freely bargained, that there was no actual meeting of the minds. That kind of contract is called an adhesion contract. House Bill 67 would create an environment in which contracts of adhesion could be the order of the day in negotiations between boards of trustees and teachers. Under this legislation, trustees are in a heads, I win, tails, you lose position. Yes, the parties are supposed to negotiate in good faith, but at the end of the day, June 10th to be precise, the teachers have no choice but to accept the district's last best offer. Think for a minute how the boards of trustees would react if the shoe were on the other foot. If teachers could get the last word and the board had to accept the teacher's last offer, the trustees would claim the process would be unfair and they'd be right. The citizen volunteers who serve on our boards of trustees work hard and deserve our respect, but so do our teachers. If this bill as presently written passes the legislature and is signed into law, the governor and the legislature will have put its thumbs on the bargaining scale. How do we respect teachers? We start by ensuring fairness at the bargaining table. And how do we make sure that the bargaining table is fair? We make sure it rests on a level service. I want to encourage the members of this committee to return the bill to the sponsor and give the task force created by the gentleman on the second floor an opportunity to address this issue. Finally, I would emphasize that your constituents have spoken on this issue in the 2012 election. I urge you, as strongly as I possibly can, to honor and abide by the outcome of that vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Next up is Penelope Manning. And then we have a little problem. I've got a whole page here of names, and I don't know whether they're interested in testifying or not. So I'm going to go through some names, and if you are interested in testifying, if you'd come forward. Jolynn Garrison, Linda Buczynski, thank you. Jake Vanderath, Corey Akins, Cindy Scaffold, and I'll stop there. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. My name is Penelope Manning. I'm a former teacher, a proud mother of 2 teachers, grandmother of children in Idaho schools, and always an interested citizen in education. I'm also a retiree from a major corporation, a former small business owner, and an educational consultant with experience in online training for adults. I speak for myself. Superintendent Luna's proposals regarding laptops, online classes, pay for performance, class sizes, teacher contracts, and so forth didn't make sense to me, and did not make sense, in fact, to 57% of the Idaho voters in the last election. So I'm baffled, frankly, as to why this issue is coming up at this time. I, too, heard the words of our governor speaking about the task force and its opportunity to bring those people together and give them an opportunity to complete their work. That aside, every teacher I know works many hours each week and many days each year outside the classroom or on weekends to meet their students' needs. Every teacher I know is dedicated and thoughtful about each child under his or her care. I'm insulted for every teacher I know when plans such as these come out in direct opposition to good sense and knowledge gained from spending a few days in a classroom. I was here to testify 2 years ago, last year, and I will, I didn't get a chance to do it, but with the same request. Please go into a classroom in a public school educated classroom, and sit there for several hours without saying a word, and see how that classroom differs from what it was when we were there, when I was there, when you were there, when anybody over 40 was there. They are vastly different. I promise you you'll learn something. Instead of using teachers to improve classrooms, proposals like this attack teachers at the very heart. Teachers should be treated with the respect due an educated, professional, appropriate employee who is judged by his or her bosses twice a year in performance reviews and expected to perform. There are lots of issues to be addressed. There are lots of things to be looked at. We can learn from other models, such as the business model, where the bottom line matters a great deal. However, in business, where we have performance requirements and we have required goals and so forth, there are always adjustments. In my business there were, and in the major corporation in which I worked, there were plenty of adjustments, and we need to be able to make those. Another thing I learned from the car business is that it takes equality of sacrifice. We need to look at more than just cutting. We need to figure out what we're doing in Idaho to increase the revenues so that we can properly fund our public educational purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manning. I didn't see anyone come forward out of that last group of names I called. Denise Wetzel, Lala Nea Henderson, Tima Scudder, Gabrielle Davis, Kelly Trudeau, Scott Nicholson. Okay. Nicole Stull and Holland Stull. Beth Oppenheimer on deck, and Ed Wardwell after that. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. My name is Nicole Stull. I am the PTO president at the Village Charter School. I have 2 daughters who attend the Village Charter School, and obviously we've heard a lot already about school choice. Actually, I'm kind of excited because that many people came out for it. I think what it shows to us is that when people are involved in a school choice, they become more passionate. I think that's fairly obvious. One thing that I have noticed is that across the board, anybody who's in this room cares about education, correct? We're all thinking about it. We're all wondering about it. I think one of our biggest challenges is helping the people who aren't in this room to care more about it, to care more about what the outcome is going to be. I'm in awe of the number of parents who think that dropping their children off at the door at 8 a.m. at the school, and now education is no longer their job but the teacher's job, and then at 3:30 when they come pick them up, they take them home, and dinner and getting to bed and all of that is what matters, and very little thought is put into the education of their child. Beyond the fact that I have paid my taxes and therefore it's now your job to educate my child. I know that there is a lot of there's a lot of emotion involved because everybody's pocketbook is involved when it comes to education, and I understand that piece. I also believe that the things that will lead to reform are going to be the things that get the most people involved. So the task force that's been spoken of, those kinds of opportunities are what we can do to find out. When we talk about stakeholders in education, that pretty much includes everybody, right? I mean, if we own property, if we have children, if we have grandchildren, if we are children. How many children are on the task force? I don't know the answer to that question, but I hope that there are some, because teenagers are some of the most innovative people to get what they want that I've ever met. I believe that it's important to really, truly open that door at our school, and I think part of that can be done through choice. The more choices we offer people and we force them to make choices, not just have what's available, but to make a choice, because there are choices available, they will become dedicated and they will become more passionate about what is there. They will become more invested. I truly believe that is vitally important. So legislation that affects choice, and that in this state very much can be charter schools, and there is legislation that will come forward. There are going to be proposals. I urge you to consider them. Even though we may have small numbers now that are involved in those choice schools, that is where we will see some change. It will come, and it will involve the parents. I hope that you guys see that. And I also hope that we can find ways to work together. At the Village, we use the 7 habits of highly effective people. We've worked on them to teach our students to make those choices. Oh, look at those 7 habits. If we could get the task force with those 7 habits, change would happen. Okay, in the good ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you need to share those 7 habits with the task force.
Yeah, they're available.
And Holland, thank you for being here too.
You're welcome.
Beth Oppenheimer.
Holland.
Oh, I'm sorry, Holland. I'm sorry.
My name is Holland. I attend the Village Charter School. I think that school choice is important. My school does Singapore math, and I've been able to learn math and reading and spelling and science better than I have at my other school. The Village has helped me understand that when I am reading a book, I can understand what they're saying, and I just enjoy the Village Charter School more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Oppenheimer. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Good morning. My name is Beth Oppenheimer, and I'm the Executive Director of the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. The current debate over Idaho's education reform has covered a variety of topics considered essential for quality education, except one: early childhood education. Early childhood education has the potential to give every child equal footing when they start school, and is proven to improve 3rd grade reading scores, increase graduation rates, and reduce public spending on grade repetition and special education. The fact is, it's that simple. The early years are a time of remarkable brain growth in children and lay the foundation for learning and development. Idaho AEYC recommends the inclusion of early education as a necessary piece in Idaho's current education debate. In order to achieve the goals that we all share for our children and communities, we must be willing to recognize and discuss the vital role that early education plays in successful outcomes for our education system and for our great state of Idaho. Studies have shown that over 90% of brain development occurs before a child is 5 years old. What happens in those years significantly influences the child's lifetime attainments. Early education could not be more important in the current debate, not just for keeping our children healthy and safe, but also for effectively preparing them to enter school and to succeed in life. According to a recent Idaho Kids Count report, 44% of our children are not academically prepared to enter kindergarten, and 37% are not academically prepared to enter 1st grade. The gaps that are present as children enter school will only become more severe with time if we do not provide programs to create equal learning opportunities for all children. Early education serves as an essential tool to balance the developmental and educational playing field so that all children, regardless of their backgrounds, enter school ready to learn. Debate must shift and consider the benefits of quality early learning programs as vital components of the education reform. Working together to ensure that young children are prepared to smoothly transition into kindergarten or 1st grade will drastically reduce the challenges we currently face in our K-12 education system. Early prevention is better and less expensive than later remediation. Upfront investments in early education translate into direct returns for our community, the state, and society as a whole. By recognizing the powerful impact quality learning experiences and environments have on our young children, We will prepare children for learning long before they step through the school door on their first day of class. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oppenheimer.